Today video is on plastic, that is in non-metallic materials, aircraft materials. Now plastic has become a household word since molded resins have been developed to replace so many of the metal and wood items that make our modern life functional. This type of material first became familiar to us around 1870 when celluloid was first developed, and then a stronger plastic was developed in 1909 when phenol and formaldehyde were mixed to start the family of phenolics that are so useful to us today. Plastics are used in many applications throughout modern aircraft. These applications range from structural component of thermosetting plastics reinforced with fiberglass to decorative trim of thermoplastic materials. The plastics are transparent. We can say like that. The transparent plastic material are used in aircraft canopies, windshields, and other similar areas. Apparent enclosures may be divided into two major classes or groups. These plastics are classified according to their reactions to heat. The two classes are thermoplastic and thermosetting. Thermoplastic materials will soften when heated and harden when cooled. These materials can be heated until soft and then formed into the design shape. When cooled, they will retain their shape. The same piece of plastic can be reheated and reshaped any number of times without changing the chemical composition of the material. So it is to be noted that unless their heat limit is exceeded, this process can be repeated many times without damaging the material. Thermosetting materials usually have little strength in themselves but are reinforced by using them to impregnate linen, paper, or glass cloth. When formed and cured, they develop a hard consistency that will retain its shape unless it is damaged. Reinforced thermosetting resins are strong and lightweight and resist weathering, aging, and chemical attack. And for the thermosetting, these plastics cannot be reshaped after once being fully cured by the application of heat. So it is a thermosetting. Now, in addition to the above classes, transparent plastics are manufactured in two forms: monolithic, that is in brackets solid, and laminated. Laminated transparent plastics are made from transparent plastics face sheets bonded by an inner layer material, usually polyvinyl butyryl. Because of its shelter resistant qualities, laminated plastics is superior solid plastics and is used in many pressurized aircraft. Most of the transparent sheets used in aviation is manufactured in accordance with various military specifications. In a thermoplastic resins, number one is cellulose acetate. There are two types of transparent thermoplastic materials that are used for aircraft windshields and side windows. Cellulose acetate plastics was used in many of the earlier aircraft because of its transparency and lightweight, but it had such a tendency to shrink and to turn yellow that it has been replaced by the more stable acrylic resin plastics. Cellulose acetate can be distinguished from acrylic by the slightly yellow tint, and if the scrap of it is burned, it will produce a sputtering flame and dark smoke. When the flame is extinguished, the odor left will be unpleasant. A stone will soften but not discolor the cellulose acetate, but it will not soften acrylic. It will instead leave a white residue on its surface. Number two, acrylic. Acrylic plastics are identified by such trade names as lucite or plexiglass, or in the Britain by perspex. It is considerably steeper than cellulose acetate, is more transparent, and for all practical purposes is colorless. It burns with a clear flame and produces a fairly pleasant odor. Also, we are we have to learn more that a new development in transparent plastic is stressed acrylic. Stressed acrylic is a type of plastic which before being shaped is pulled in both directions to rearrange its molecular structure. Stressed acrylic panels have a greater resistance to impact and are less subject to shatter. Its chemical resistance is greater, aging is simpler, and crackling and scratches are less detrimental. Sheets of plastics are covered with a heavy masking paper to which a pressure-sensitive adhesive has been added. This paper helps to prevent accidental scratching during storage and handling. Care should be taken to avoid scratches and gouges which may be caused by sliding sheets against one another or across rough or dirty tables. Sheets should be stored in bins which are tilted at approximately 10 degrees from vertical. If possible, if they must be stored horizontally, piles should not be over 18 inches high and small sheets should be stacked on the large ones to avoid unsupported overhang. Storage should be in a cool, dry place away from solvent fumes. Heating coils, radiators and steam pipes. The temperature in the storage room should not exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit. While direct sunlight does not harm acrylic plastic, it will cause drying and hardening of the masking adhesive, making removal of the paper difficult. If the paper will not roll off easily, place the sheet in an oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 minute maximum. The heat will soften the masking adhesive for easy removal of the paper. If an oven is not available, hardened masking paper may be removed by softening the adhesive with aliphatic naphtha. Rub the masking paper with a cloth saturated with naphtha. This will soften the adhesive and free the paper from the plastic. Sheets so treated must be washed immediately with clean water, taking care not to scratch the surfaces. Now here there is a note. Aliphatic naphtha is not to be confused with aromatic naphtha and other dry cleaning solvents which are definitely harmful in their effects on plastic. However, aliphatic naphtha is flammable and all precautions regarding the use of flammable liquid must be observed. Is thermosetting resins. Number 1, in this polyester resins. Both fiberglass cloth and mat have a great deal of strength for the weight, but they have no rigidity. To convert fiberglass into a full structural material, we can impregnate it with polyester resin and mold it into almost any form we might need. Polyester differ from materials which cure by evaporation of an oil or a solvent. Since they cure by chemical action, they have a complex molecular structure, and in its pure form, polyester resin is thick and unmanageable. But by adding a styrene monomer, we can make polyester workable. Styrene, which acting as a thinner, is actually much more as it combines with the polyester to alter its characteristics. If left by itself, a mixture of polyester and styrene will harden into a solid mass, and to prevent this we must add inhibitors. Now for it to cure or solidify when we want it to, we must add a catalyst to suppress the inhibitors. Polyester resin, when mixed with appropriate amounts of catalyst, will harden into a solid mass. The time required for this solidification can be appreciably shortened by the addition of a measured amount of an accelerator. The amount of accelerator needed depends on the ambient temperature and the thickness of the layer of resin. The actual cure or solidification of the resin is caused by heat, and since the heat is generated within the resin by chemical action between the catalyst and the accelerator, the less surface area there is from which the heat can escape, the more heat will remain in the resin and the faster it will cure. A thick layer of resin will therefore cure more rapidly than a thin layer if the ambient temperature is the same. Number 2. Epoxy resin. There are other resins which may take the place of polyester is laminated structure. One of these is epoxy, which is available in many forms and colors, some in the form of liquid and others as a thick syrup. The form most frequently encountered consists of two thick syrup-like materials, the resin and the hardener. The properties which makes epoxy useful for aircraft laminated structures are its low percentage of shrinkage, its high strength for its weight, and its ability to adhere to a wide variety of materials. Epoxy can even form a tight bond between such material as glass and metal. Epoxy does not actually use a catalyst as do polyester resins. Rather, it uses a hardener or curing agent with the resin. The difference between the two materials is most apparent when we look at the amounts of material that are used. For polyester, about 1 ounce of catalyst is used with 64 ounces of resins. The final weight of the catalyzed material will be about 64 ounces. Epoxies, on the other hand, use a ratio of about 1 quarts of curing agent with 4 quarts of resins to make 5 quarts of material. Now, number C is thixotropic agents. Some plastic resins are extremely sensitive to temperature changes. At temperatures of around 60 degree Fahrenheit, they may be as thick as molasses, which at temperatures of 90 degree Fahrenheit, they may be as thin as water. Since heat is used to affect the cure, these resins are likely to run off any vertical or near vertical surface before they have a chance to cure. In order to eliminate this problem, we can use a thixotropic agent. Among the most familiar thixotropic agents used in aviation maintenance are microballoons. These are hollow glass or phenolic balls ranging in diameter from about 10 to 300 microns. So tiny they resemble fine sand. If we were to examine these microballoons under a microscope, we would see that each one is a perfect sphere. The epoxy or polyester resin is mixed as recommended by the manufacturer, and microballoons are carefully folded into make up a paste having enough body that it will not run off when it is toweled onto the surface. After the resin cures, it can be sanded to the required contour. D. Reinforcing materials. Number 1 is cloth. For many years, aircraft control cable pulleys have been made from thermostatic resins reinforced with layers of linen cloth. The resins impregnated layer of cloth are cured under high temperatures and pressure in a mold to form a pulleys that have high strength but will not wear the control cable. Now, number 2 is paper. When layer of papers are impregnated with a thermostatic resin such as phenol formaldehyde or urea formaldehyde, they can be molded into either flat sheets or into complex sheets. This material is stiff and hard and is an exceptionally good electrical insulator. It is however quite heavy. Electrical terminal strips have traditionally been made of paper reinforced resins. Now, number 3, glass fiber. Modern reinforced plastic material are more often than not made of glass fibers used to reinforce a thermosetting resins. For high strength requirement, the glass fibers may be woven into a cloth. For applications where strength is not as important as cost, the fibers are gathered into a loose mat which is saturated with resin and molded into the required shape. Ceramic fiber is a form of glass fiber designed for use in high temperature applications. It is able to withstand temperatures approaching 3000 degree Fahrenheit, which makes it an effective laminate to be used around engines and exhaust systems. Its disadvantages includes its weight and expense. Now, number 4. Number 4, Kevlar. Kevlar is one of the most popular cloth fabrics used for reinforcement. A soft yellow organic fibers. It is extremely light, strong and tough. It is highly resistant to impact and is used on area where impact from sand or other debris may occur. It may also be found around landing gear and behind propellers. This material is rather difficult to work with and does not perform well under compressive loads. The thin filaments of glass fibers may be matted together to reinforce resins when the strength of woven clothes is not required. Now number 5 is graphite fiber. Graphite fibers are manufactured by heating and stretching rayon fibers. The result of this process is a change in the molecular structure of the fiber. Like Kevlar, graphite fiber is extremely lightweight, strong and tough. Now E. Laminated structural materials. Number 1 is fiberglass faced honeycomb. A. Paper or glass core. The cellular core or laminated honeycomb materials may be made of resin impregnated craft paper or glass cloth. When this material is cut to the proper shape and bonded between two face sheets of fiberglass cloth that has been impregnated with resin and cured, it makes an electrically transparent material that has a high strength for its weight and is extremely rigid. Now number B is metal core. A cellular material may be made up of extremely thin aluminum and bonded between face sheets of fiberglass reinforced resins. Now C. Wood core. Balsa wood can be cut across its grain and the end grain slabs bonded between two face sheets of fiberglass or metal. This provides an exceptionally strong and lightweight structural material that may be used for floors, wall panels and skins of aircraft. Now 2. Metal faced honeycomb. All of the types of core material that can be sandwiched between fiberglass sheets can also be sandwiched between the thin sheets of aluminum alloy. Metal faced honeycomb is used where resistance to abrasion is important. More about the reinforced plastic. Reinforced plastic is a thermosetting material used in the manufacture of radomes, antenna covers and wingtips, and as an insulation for various pieces of electrical equipment and fuel cells. It has excellent dielectric characteristics which makes it ideal for radomes. However, its high strength weight ratio, resistance to mildew, rust and rot and ease of fabrication make it equally suited for other parts of the aircraft. Reinforced plastic components of aircraft are formed of either solid laminates or sandwich type laminates. Resins used to impregnate glass clothes are the contact pressure type bracket requiring little or no pressure during cure. These resins are supplied as a liquid which can vary in viscosity from a water-like consistency to a thick syrup. Cure of polymerization is effected by the use of a catalyst, usually benzoyl peroxide. Solid laminates are constructed of 3 or more layers of resin impregnated cloths, wet laminated together to form a solid sheet facing or molded shape. Sandwich type laminates are constructed of 2 or more solid sheets facing or a molded shape enclosing a fiberglass honeycomb or foam type core. Honeycomb cores are made up of glass cloths impregnated with a polyester or a combination of nylon and phenolic resins, which we have earlier read also. The specific density and cell size of honeycomb cores varies over a considerable latitude. Honeycomb cores are normally fabricated in blocks that are later cut to the desired thickness on a bandsaw. Foam type cores are formulated from combination of alkyd resins and metal toluene isocyanate. Sandwich type fiberglass components filled with foam type cores are manufactured to exceedingly close tolerances on overall thickness of the molded facing and core material. To achieve this accuracy, the resin is poured into a close tolerance molded shape. The resin formulation immediately forms up to fill the void in the molded shape and forms a bond between the facing and the core.